The boutique smelled like sandalwood, fresh linen, and quiet wealth. Everything inside Maison Solène had been chosen with intention. Hand-thrown ceramic vases from Portugal, silk drapery that moved like breath, carved teak consoles that held history in their grain. It wasn't just a store. It was a sanctuary curated by a woman who understood that beauty could soften the sharpest edges of life. Her name was Tara Moreau, and she had built this place from nothing but taste, instinct, and endurance. People assumed she had always lived surrounded by luxury, that her life had unfolded gently into elegance. They didn't see the years she spent eating once a day to afford inventory, or the nights she slept on the cold showroom floor before she could pay herself a salary. They didn't see the loneliness, but Matt had. That's what made it different. He had come into her life 5 years earlier, when the boutique was still finding its footing, when the shelves weren't yet full and the brand wasn't yet whispered about in the right circles. He hadn't been dazzled by her success. He had admired her process.
"You've built something that feels like peace,"
he told her once, standing in the center of the store as golden light spilled through the front windows. Tara had smiled then, soft and rare, because Matt didn't just see her. He understood her, or at least that's what she believed. By the time the boutique became profitable, truly profitable, Matt had already woven himself into every corner of her life. He knew her routines, he knew her vendors, he knew which clients mattered most, and gradually, almost invisibly, he became involved. It started small.
"I can help you streamline your accounting,"
he offered one night over dinner, casually, as if it were nothing.
"You're spending too much time on back-end work. Let me take that off your plate."
Tara hesitated, not because she didn't trust him, but because the boutique was hers. Every number, every invoice, every dollar had been touched by her hands. But Matt smiled, reaching across the table, his fingers brushing hers.
"You don't have to carry everything alone anymore."
That was the thing about him. He made surrender feel like relief. So she said yes. For a while, it was exactly what she needed. Matt organized the books, handled vendor payments, optimized expenses. He spoke the language of numbers in a way she never had. And as the business grew, his presence felt like stability, like a foundation beneath her vision. She trusted him, not blindly, but willingly. There's a difference. Still, there were moments, small ones, fleeting enough to ignore, like the time she asked about a delayed shipment payment, and he responded too quickly, too smoothly.
"It's handled,"
he said, not meeting her eyes, or the time she noticed an unfamiliar account name in the ledger.
"What's this?"
she asked lightly.
"Short-term investment pool,"
Matt replied.
"It's helping us grow faster. I'll explain it in detail later."
He never did, and she never asked again, because asking would mean confronting the quiet, persistent whisper inside her chest. The one that said, "Something isn't right." And Tara had worked too hard for peace to invite disruption into it, so she silenced the whisper over and over again. Comfort can be intoxicating, not loud, not obvious, but soft, warm, persuasive. It tells you, stay here. Don't question too much. Don't ruin what feels good. And Tara listened. The collapse didn't come all at once. It unraveled. First, a vendor called. Her voice was polite, but tight.
"Tara, we haven't received payment for the last 2 shipments."
"That can't be right."
Tara said immediately.
"We processed those weeks ago."
There was a pause.
"I'm looking at the account now. There's no record of payment."
Tara felt something shift, a subtle crack beneath her feet.
"I'll look into it,"
she said, her voice steady despite the sudden tension coiling in her chest. She went straight to the back office, opened the books, scrolled, paused, scrolled again. Her heartbeat began to climb. Numbers weren't lining up. Transactions were missing. Accounts she didn't recognize had grown significantly. Her fingers hovered over the trackpad, then stilled, because that whisper, the one she had buried for months, rose up, louder now. You already know. That night, she waited for Matt. The boutique was closed, the lights dimmed to their evening glow. The air still held the scent of jasmine and wood. She sat on the velvet chaise near the front window, perfectly composed. When Matt walked in, he smiled.
Hey, you're still here? I thought you'd be home.
Tara looked at him, really looked at him. At the man she had trusted with her work, her heart, her life.
Where is the money?
She asked quietly. The smile faltered.
What?
The vendor payments, the accounts, the transfers.
Her voice didn't rise. It didn't need to.
Where is it, Matt?
He exhaled, running a hand through his hair.
It's invested.
The word landed heavily.
In what?
A private opportunity. High return potential. I didn't want to worry you with the details until it matured.
Tara stood slowly.
You used my business, my money, without telling me.
It's our future.
He said quickly.
I did this for us.
No,
She replied, her voice still soft but edged now with something sharper.
you did this to me.
Matt stepped closer.
It's going to pay off, Tara. You just have to trust me.
And there it was again, that word. Trust. The very thing he had already broken. The following weeks were a slow, suffocating descent. The investment was not just risky, it was failing. Badly. Funds were tied up, accounts were frozen, and the boutique, her sanctuary, was bleeding. Matt tried to reassure her.
It's temporary. It'll recover. You're overreacting.
But Tara had stopped listening. Because reality doesn't soften itself to protect your comfort. It reveals itself. Relentlessly. The day the final notice arrived, Tara sat alone in the boutique. The letter was simple, clinical. Outstanding debts must be settled immediately. She placed it gently on the marble counter, looked around the space she had built, every piece, every detail, every memory. And for the first time, she allowed herself to feel the full weight of the truth, not just what Matt had done, but what she had allowed. She had known, not everything, not the specifics, but enough to question, enough to pause, enough to protect herself. But she hadn't, because Matt had given her something she had been starving for long before she met him. Not love, not even partnership. Comfort. The illusion that she didn't have to carry everything alone anymore. And she had clung to it, even when it cost her clarity, even when it cost her power. When Matt came in that evening, she was already packed, not her belongings. The boutique, the shelves were half empty, inventory boxed and labeled. He looked around, confusion turning quickly into alarm.
What is this?
I'm closing.
No,
He said immediately.
you can't. This is just a setback.
Tara met his gaze, steady, unwavering.
It's not a setback, it's a consequence.
Tara, we can fix this. I can fix this.
She shook her head gently.
That's the problem. I trusted you to fix things that were never yours to control.
Matt's voice softened, desperate now.
Don't walk away from everything we built.
Tara's lips curved slightly, not in bitterness, but in clarity.
You mean everything I built?
The silence between them stretched, heavy, final. She didn't cry when she left, not when she locked the doors, not when she handed over the keys, not even when she walked out into the night, the weight of loss settling quietly into her bones. Because grief for Tara wasn't loud. It was still, deep, enduring. Months passed, slowly, intentionally. She didn't rush to rebuild, didn't chase what she had lost. Instead, she sat with it, learned from it, allowed herself to feel the discomfort she had avoided for so long. And something shifted, not all at once, but steadily. She began again. Smaller this time. No grand storefront, no polished facade, just a studio, a handful of pieces, and a woman who trusted herself more than she trusted the illusion of ease. One afternoon, as sunlight filtered through the windows of her new space, a client stepped inside. She looked around, taking in the understated beauty.
This feels
The woman paused, searching for the word.
different.
Tara smiled.
It is.
There was no pretense here, no borrowed stability, no quiet compromises hidden beneath elegance, just truth and intention and a strength that had been sharpened, not softened, by what she had endured. That night, as she closed the studio, Tara paused at the door, looked back at what she had created, not as it was before, but as it was now, stripped down, honest, hers, completely. And for the first time in a long time, she felt something deeper than comfort, something steadier, something real. Peace. She had stayed loyal, even when loyalty cost her everything. But in the end, she chose herself, and this time, she didn't ignore the whisper.